Kevin Durant is one of the best scorers in NBA history.
Durant way outside, delivers! Kevin Durant from downtown, it's a 6-point game.
So today we are going to be putting him in the shoes of another all-time great scorer. And the main challenge of the video is going to be to see if KD can do something Carmelo was never able to do, win a championship, which wouldn't be easy because KD would be drafted right into the Western Conference as a Denver Nugget. And it wasn't easy because the duo of Kobe and Shaq have been running the West for the past couple seasons. But thankfully for KD, Shaq will be leaving soon. KD had a great rookie season though, breaking 20 points per game, showing he has the potential to be a real star in this league. But that season was not good enough for the rookie of the year because I don't know if you forgot, but a man by the name of LeBron James was in the same draft class. KD would spend the next couple seasons finding his way in the league and building a name for himself, which led us to the 2005-2006 season where for the first time the Nuggets were a real threat in the West. The Nuggets were the 4th seed in the West, matching up against the Seattle Supersonics. And I'm not even going to waste everyone's time. The Nuggets absolutely ran through the Sonics in 5 games, advancing on to the second round. The second round was going to be a lot more challenging of a series though, against Kevin Garnett and the Timberwolves. The two team star players were in completely different positions of their career. Kevin Garnett was 29 years old and in his prime, looking to get his first NBA ring, and he definitely has a lot more playoff experience. While KD is only 22 years old with very little playoff experience, but the T-Wolves cannot take him lightly at all because he is already one of the best scorers in the NBA. KD came out and set the tone for the series in game 1 with a 43-point game in front of the home crowd. But KG was not going out that easy. He came back with 2 very good performances, dropping 38 and 15 in game 2 and then a 45-point game 3 in Minnesota. It was clear the Nuggets had to make some serious adjustments if they wanted to win the series, but they just did not end up making those necessary adjustments as KG would cook them in front of the home crowd in game 6 to close out the series, sending KD home early in a very disappointing way. KD was determined to go down as one of the all-time greats, so this offseason he would work really hard to improve his game, which brought us to a new chapter, KD's first dynamic duo. A 31-year-old Allen Iverson would come to Denver to team up with Kevin Durant. Now he was a little old, but he still has some really good seasons left in him and would be a huge help this season to Kevin Durant. Now the work KD put in showed this season. He averaged 32.4 points per game, putting up the most points in the NBA this season, and that'd be good enough for him to take home his first NBA MVP, taking home a MVP award before anybody in his draft class. And the Nuggets did make it to the Western Conference Finals this season for the first time, but the matchup was not going to be easy at all as one of the greatest players of all time was on the opposing side of KD. And this series would be a little personal for Iverson because him and Kobe kind of have some history in the finals. And we would pick this series up in game 6 with the Nuggets down 3-2 in the series. But KD came into the stadium that night with one thing on his mind, and that was that he was not getting bounced. At least not in front of the home crowd, as he would go for 53 and 14, forcing a game 7 in LA. Game 7 in LA was absolutely electric. The stadium was jumping from the opening tip. With tons of celebrities and well-known people all in attendance courtside, this was the perfect opportunity for KD to show the NBA and the basketball community that he is here to stay, because even if people weren't at the game, they were tuned into it for sure on the TV. But Kobe wasn't going to let a young dude like Kevin Durant just come into his home and beat him, at least not easily, as the two teams would be going back and forth for a very close game, which led to the series all coming down to one last possession. All right, here we go, 5 seconds left, game 7, down 1, KD with the shot. KD pump fake in Lamar Odom's face, pulls up and he knocks it down. That's insane. I mean, they got 0.3 seconds left. I don't even think that's enough time to get a shot off. Maybe an alley-oop, but let's see what they're going to try and do. I think they're going to try and throw a lob. It looks like to Odom. They had it. Pull up. He misses anyway. I don't think it would have counted. And the Nuggets just came back down 3-2, won a game 6, then come to LA game 7, and KD gets the dub. What a series. The finals will be the Miami Heat versus the Denver Nuggets. 2 players from the 2003 draft class meeting each other, with Kevin Durant and Dwayne Wade in the finals. It's definitely safe to say that the league is in good hands moving forward. The series was 1-1 in game 3 in Miami, and Iverson would be the leading scorer with 37 points, taking a 2-1 series lead for Denver. The Nuggets would return home in game 5 with a 3-1 series lead as they took both to Miami, and the stadium was the loudest it's ever been, with a chance for the Nuggets to close it out and not have to go back to Miami. It was a close game throughout as D Wade was doing his best to not get sent home, but the 4th quarter with about 8 minutes left is where the game took a swing, as the Nuggets went on a 17-4 run with KD scoring 13 of those points, and that run would lead to the Nuggets closing out the series and Kevin Durant doing something Melo didn't do or Iverson didn't do in their whole careers: win a championship. And KD has already definitely accomplished more than Carmelo so far, as he has 1 ring, 1 Finals MVP, and 1 MVP award in the trophy case. Going into next season, the main question was, can the Nuggets run it back? The answer was no, as they got beat in the first round by the Houston Rockets. The next 2 seasons from 2008 to 2010 were not the best for Durant and the Nuggets, as Iverson would leave and the team just failed to live up to the expectations, failing to even reach the Western Conference Finals again. Maybe it wasn't such a good thing that they won a ring so early, and some were wondering if Kevin Durant has peaked as a superstar. But then, on a cold afternoon in New York, a blockbuster trade was made by the New York Knicks. Kevin Durant would come into New York and do what he was supposed to do, which was finish the season out strong and get this New York team in the playoffs. Now, the only bad thing was that over the last offseason, LeBron signed with the Miami Heat, so getting out of the East was going to be super tough for KD. And the Eastern Conference Finals was exactly what we expected, the Miami Heat versus the New York Knicks. And the series was not exciting as some hoped, as the duo of Wade and LeBron just seemed to be absolutely unstoppable, and the Miami Heat took the series 4-1 and went on to beat the Mavs in the finals. The 2011-2012 season was the same result for the Knicks, falling short to LeBron and the Heat for the second year in a row. When KD won his first ring at such a young age, everyone was thinking he was going to be the next superstar to run the NBA. But the narrative was quickly changing on him, as he hasn't been back to the finals in the past 5 seasons. Then came the 2012-2013 season, where Durant averaged 33 points per game this year, and that was good enough stat line for him to win his second MVP. The Knicks also got an old teammate that won a ring with Kevin Durant in Denver. The man, the myth, the Hennessy demon, J.R. Smith. The Knicks would make it right through their first 2-round series as easy, as that was expected. And they were moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals to try and do something that they have not been able to do: beat LeBron James. And it was not going to be easy at all, as they were already going back to New York down 2-0, losing 2 really close games in Miami. But it was a different story in front of the home New York crowd, as the Knicks took the next 2 games to tie up the series, which would eventually lead us to a Game 7 in Miami, and this one was down to the final minute. All right, Game 7, Knicks with the ball, KD dunking it. 3-point lead, 1 minute left. The Heat need a bucket right here for sure to stay in the game. KD looking to get this stop. KD looking to finally get past LeBron, as LeBron has been dominating the East and not letting KD do what he's supposed to do with the Knicks. As LeBron gets to the bucket, misses. KD with a big defensive stop. All right, he's going up the court. Looks like he's about to go all the way with this thing. And one. And one. Oh, still though, KD's not missing these free throws. It's gonna be a 5-point game, 40 seconds left. It's looking good for the Knicks, and they do end up winning by 6. LeBron had 33, 6, 8, 2, and 4, and then KD with 35, 8, 6, 2, and 2. So a good game from KD and no turnovers as well. The Lakers team the Knicks was playing was a really good roster. Injuries affected this Lakers team in real life, but they won't be in this series, so KD was in for a challenge. The series was tied 2-2 headed into Game 5 in LA, and the game would come down to a last-second buzzer beater from Kevin Durant to cap off his 41-point game and take a 3-2 series lead for New York. Game 6 was now back in New York, and KD and the Knicks would come out on fire with a 22-6 run to start the game, and that kind of set the tone for the game, as they were able to win the game, ending the Knicks' drought of not being able to win NBA championships, and the city of New York was going crazy. KD had another very good season next year, breaking the 30-point per game mark once again. But the MVP went out to LeBron James in Miami, as he had an absolutely ridiculous season. But in the playoffs, the Knicks would actually find themselves in some trouble early in the second round, down 3-2 in Game 6 against the Bulls. New York, if they lose this game, they're going to be eliminated from the playoffs in the second round. They're down 3 points right now with 27 seconds. And J.R. Smith's pulling up for 3, and he knocks it down. What a clutch shot. All right, I'm guessing the Bulls are going to hold for last shot, so the Knicks are going to have to get a stop here. All right, pick and roll. Carlos Boozer, Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose to the hole. Pull up, jump shot in Stoudemire. Bro, in Stoudemire's face. Pause. But, bro, how did he just hit that? I don't think, like, 0.2 seconds isn't even enough time off to get a shot, so you got to get a lob tip in. And they pass it to Raymond Felton out of all people, and he's going to pull up and almost hit it, but wouldn't count it anyway, and the Bulls are advancing. The next 3 seasons for Knicks fans were filled with disappointment after disappointment, as the Knicks were never able to get back to another NBA Finals, which led to the Big 3. The Knicks would end the KD era, trading him to OKC to team up with Russ and Paul George. With this trade, OKC instantly became one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NBA. When Melo got traded to OKC in real life, he was still good, but not at that like elite Carmelo level. But Kevin Durant was aging a lot better than Melo, as he was still like 97 overall, still ready to go and try and win a championship this year for OKC. And this team was unstoppable on offense, as they averaged the most points per game in the NBA this season as a team and finished with the best record in the West. The Thunder had a tough second round matchup though, facing a Warriors team that should have Durant on it, but obviously in this NBA universe, KD is Carmelo, so obviously he's not going to be on the Warriors. And Steph gave them a really good series, putting up a lot of points and a ton of highlight 3-pointers. But the Thunder were able to finish this series up up in Game 6 thanks to an 88 combined point performance from the Big Three. In the Western Conference Finals, the Thunder had to play the Rockets, and we all know how Houston Harden was, so he was going to be a problem to stop on offense. But the good thing for the Thunder was that they had the best offense in the NBA. But that still doesn't mean the series wasn't close. In fact, it came all the way down to a Game 7 in OKC. But Game 7 wasn't close at all, as the stereotype of playoff Harden showed up big time as the Rockets looked absolutely awful, which led to OKC cruising to a 128-101 victory, earning their bid to the finals. And in the finals, KD would once again face his rival LeBron James. But LeBron was not equipped with the team this year to take down this super team, and the Thunder would cruise to a finals victory in 5 games. The only downside this year for KD was that he did not win the finals MVP, as Russ took it home because he averaged a triple-double on the series. And seeing KD and Russ win a ring together, it just feels right. Which brought on another new era in KD's career, the Blazers era. Now, Dame was one of the best guards in the league who had incredible range and was also super clutch, but he did not have a ring to show for it, so Blazers fans hoped that KD would be that missing piece to get him over the wall. And KD really showed no signs of slowing down, as he was getting kind of old. He still put up 28.9 points per game this season, still looking like one of the best scorers in the NBA. His season wasn't MVP caliber, as that award would go out to Anthony Davis in Los Angeles, as they were probably going to be the Blazers' main competition in the West playoffs. But they would face a young Luka in the second round of the playoffs, and he would shock the Blazers, taking the first 2 games in Portland, putting the Blazers in a really tough spot. But the Blazers were able to battle back, and they somehow took the next 4 games, winning the series in 6 games after going down 2-0. And the Western Conference Finals was what everyone expected, the Lakers versus the Blazers. But the result of this series through 4 games was not what you would expect, as the Blazers were up 3-1. The Lakers would not go out that easy though, as LeBron and AD battled back in Game 5 with a 118-113 win. Game 6 would be back in Portland, where it wouldn't be too close of a game at all, as the Blazers won 137-123, as Dame would be the X factor, hitting 9 3-pointers. In the finals, their opponent would be the 76ers. Embiid would expose the Blazers' weakness of not having a big man, as he would score 53 points in Game 1, taking a 1-0 series lead for the 76ers. Game 2 would be the same thing, with Embiid getting easy buckets, but Kevin Durant was also on fire, shooting in anybody's face, knocking down some really tough shots. The game was close all the way to the end, but the Blazers pulled away in the 4th quarter and ended up winning 117-109. And this would eventually lead us to a Game 7 in Portland, where the stereotypical 76ers would come out and become choke artists, as the Blazers would beat them in a 13-point win, 139-126. And Dame played a really good game, getting KD his 4th ring and Dame his 1st ring. And the duo was looking to run it back next season, but it just did not go as planned, as they would get sent home early in the playoffs, getting knocked out by the Jazz in 6 games, ending the Durant era in Portland. Which brought us to KD's final season, the last chapter. KD would announce on Twitter that this upcoming season would be his last, and he would be finishing off his career with LeBron, who's been his rival for his entire career. LeBron and Durant were getting old, but they were still very good at basketball. And this team also had Anthony Davis, who was still on the top of his game. That is, until he stubs his toe and is out for 3 months. But I mean, the Lakers looked really good this season. They finished up the year with a 63-19 record and the 1 seed in the West. But this group of old men's playoffs run would be cut short, as the Clippers would bounce them in 5 games, sending them home.